Well, hello, and thank you so much for tuning into the In Trive. My name is Ciera Payton, and I am the host of the In Trive Talks. Now, this is a place for the inspired, thriving tribe, and I created this platform because I wanted to create a community of creatives. Anybody who identifies as an artist, that could be actors, actresses, writers, directors, musicians, influencers, content creators, all of the above. And I wanted to create this community so we can all listen to each other's stories in order to uplift each other, motivate each other, inspire each other, and just, give some just kind words to help us all stay along our creative journeys. All right, so you came here. Thank you so much for stopping by. You already know what you need to do. Do me a big, big, big favor and be sure to hit the like and subscribe button right now. Go ahead, just hit it right there down below. I don't know what that was I just did, that little noise, but we're going to use it anyway. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Look, today's guest is somebody who I just think is so incredible and phenomenal. And she just teaches me so much. And I'm so honored to call her my friend. All right. Before we bring her on, I just want to share a little bit about her. Okay. So, Victoria Theodore. She received her Bachelor of Music and Bachelor of Arts degrees in classical piano performance and computer music from Oberlin College Conservatory of Music and her Master's of Arts degree in classical piano performance from Stanford University. As a teen, Victoria studied piano and voice in the UC Berkeley Young Musicians Program and sang with the Oakland Youth Chorus under the direction of Trent Moran. Touring with Beyonce, in early 2016, Victoria was hired as the keyboardist for Beyonce's Formation World Tour, and she continues to work with Beyonce ever since. Touring with Stevie Wonder, Victoria joined Stevie Wonder's touring band as a keyboardist and background singer in August 2007. She has traveled around the world with Stevie, performing for President Obama for his second inaugural celebration in 2012, Queen Elizabeth for the Queen's Diamond Jubilee concert live at Buckingham Palace, and accompanies Stevie and other musical icons of every genre. She's also featured in Stevie's DVD, Live at Last, and is seen in the Oscar-winning documentary 20 Feet from Stardom. Victoria is a highly sought pianist, composer, singer, and music instructor respected for her wide-ranging musical versatility. Her debut album of original music, Grateful, was released September 1st, 2015. Grateful demonstrates Victoria's musical breadth with songs that include elements of jazz, R&B, pop, and hints of classical. The 14 songs are tied by common threads, Victoria's piano, and her abiding sense of gratitude. So be sure to go out and buy it today. I'm sure you're going to rush and buy it after you hear this conversation. So without further ado, please let's welcome Victoria Theodore. All right, awesome. So I just introduced you, Victoria. So thank you so much for stopping by the In Tribe. I so appreciate you being here. How you doing?
It's an honor and a pleasure to be here, especially supporting anything that you do because you're one of my favorite people. And I'm so proud of you and just excited to join in whatever you want, in whatever capacity I can.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. I'm like, my heart's all warm now. So yeah. All right, so we're just gonna dive in and we're gonna do a few little icebreaker questions here, just so people who do know you or who don't know you on here, they get to know a little bit more. So here we go. All right, so I just got to do it because I love astrology. I'm not an astrologer at all by any means. I read things on the internet and I'm like, oh, that's true. So,
Okay.
but I got to ask you, do you know your zodiac signs, like the rising, your sun, and your moon?
I don't know all that. All I know.
You don't know?
I just know the basics.
All right, so what is it? Can you share?
Sure. I'm a Libra, but I'm born right after the cusp of Virgo. So a lot of people perceive me as being a Virgo.
Okay.
I suppose because I can be a bit stoic sometimes and analytical, but I'm definitely Libra in that I'm creative. I'm very fair-minded. So I always like to treat people well and just make sure that situations are proper. And what else is about Libras? We're playful, and so I'm playful, you know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a good blend. It makes sense I'm on the cusp.
All right. Yeah, well, you kind of answered a little bit of my next question, but maybe just to dive in a little bit more there. Are there some things about Libras that you've heard people say that you find that are definitely true or like completely false?
For sure, the true part is the because it's the scales, and so the evenness. I'm very even tempered.
Mm.
I t- don't generally experience anger unless I like stub my toe and then I get really angry. But at like
Yeah.
people situations, I tend to be very present in my thought process and aware of just you know life and people not being perfect, and I have a lot of grace,
Hmm.
and so my forgiveness gene is very strong.
Yeah.
And so equanimity, is that the right word, where I can stay very even, and creativity for sure, like I'm creating unconsciously all the time. And
Wow.
like I used to make up songs about my dogs. I never recorded them. It was never intentional, but it was just I do it. Or like going to the store, going on a walk. I'm just constantly in creation mode. I love to write poetry. I love to write stories. I love to write music. I'm just creative.
I
I like
love
to make up
that.
recipes.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah. I've had some of your
yeah.
stuff. It's good.
Yeah,
So
thank
yeah.
you. The part that's false is probably the wishy-washiness that
Mm.
some Libras can have, and maybe that's my Virgo side, but definitely not wishy-washy in the least. I mean, it's like if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Just that's a done deal, right?
Yeah.
So I'm reliable like crazy. I'm honorable, I'm loyal, and so the wishy-washy does not apply at all.
Nice. Yeah, I was actually interviewing another Libra, and they had said something like he was saying how he felt that Libras are the only people in the zodiac stuff that no one ever has a problem with. Like he was like, I always
Okay.
hear other signs being like, oh, that sign, but he was like, Libras are always pretty cool, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
I can
I would
attest to
agree.
that. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. All right, well, let's just dive into the history here.
Okay,
Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What was your cultural upbringing like? And what was your
sure.
parents' occupation? Just
Right.
curious about that.
Okay. Well, I was born in Berkeley, California, and grew up around the Bay Area. Early years were in Dublin, California, which is a suburb just south of Oakland. And then we moved to West Oakland, which at the time was dealing with the some drug epidemics, and so we weren't allowed to play outside because it was genuinely dangerous. But as kids, all we knew is we couldn't play out in the front yard. We could play in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents did a great job at insulating us from any of the struggles that West Oakland dealt with in that era.
Wow.
And then my parents separated and then divorced. And my dad moved to East Oakland. My mom moved to North Oakland and then East Oakland. So just kind of all over Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
So Oakland is very steeped in my bloodstream and my DNA. My family, I'll say initially it was just my mom that was more religious,
Mm-hmm.
but my dad's side of the family was religious, but he was not at all when I was really young. He grew to be as a staunch Christian as he became older, but when I was growing up, he was a Buddhist, so not just religious, but then he was an atheist for a period too. So
Mm-hmm.
he was kind of all over. But with my mother's side of the family, especially once they divorced, and we spent more time with my mother's parents, we were in church 5, 6 days a week in a
Wow.
Southern Baptist church. Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church is
Oh
where
yes.
yes, I spent many, many years absorbing the culture of, primarily they were Southern Black people, and
Mm-hmm.
so I have a lot of familiarity with Southern Black culture, and especially the music, the food, the nature of their praise. And so that's very much in me, as I've gone through my life. And growing up in the Bay Area, one of the other things that really stood out is how multicultural it is. I had friends of every shade, of every orientation, just all kinds of people. And so I grew up really perceiving people as just people and equivalent. Like I never, thankfully, thought of myself as being lesser in any regard. But at the same time, I also didn't perceive as anyone else that was less or greater than anyone. It was just, are you a cool
Mm-hmm.
person? Are you nice? Are you smart? Am I able to have a conversation with you without feeling like I have to filter myself? Then cool, we could be friends, without the judgment, because there's judgment all around, right? And I never wanted to participate in that. I wanted to see people as they were. And I'm so grateful for that, especially as the world continues to change in beautiful ways to allow more freedom and more respect for people, regardless of whatever the categories they want to check. Maybe that every human has value, and every human has potential for greatness, and so that, I think that growing up in that environment really solidified that for me, as I've turned into an adult and grow into my senior years. I don't want to say that, my mature
No.
years.
Yeah. No, it's growth and expansion. Let's just say
Yeah, it's growth
that. Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
It's a never ending cycle of learning, and I love that.
Oh gosh, you're making me think too of just, I don't know, just how fortunate some of us are to have grown up in really diverse cities, like that. I mean, I just remember growing up in New Orleans, and like you said, it was just like the diversity and all the many different people. And I, it's an interesting thing, but it leaves very, very, very little room for judgment. And I don't know what that is, but I remember when I left New Orleans and started going out into the world, I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, why are we talking about my race or my gender?
Yeah,
Like, I'm just like, this
yeah.
is interesting. Like, I know, like, now I'm a black woman, but then I just remember just being like, what, like, you guys need to come from New Orleans, or you
Right.
need to come from a big city to like wake up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, I love that, and you do resonate that just overall understanding and compassion for people. And so that's really cool that you got that at a very young age growing up in the Bay
yeah,
Area. So
yeah.
yeah.
I'm
So
grateful.
I want to know, because you are this amazing powerhouse of a musician, and what was the little like spark that happened? Do you remember that moment as a kid? Were your
Yeah,
parents into music at all?
yeah.
I'm asking like five different questions, but
Sure, sure. I'll
I'm
try to
just
remember them.
curious. Yeah, you don't have to. I can repeat them. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so my mother is not a musician per se, but she is one of the most creative people that I've ever known
Mm.
in multitude of ways. She was a seamstress that worked on heavy duty projects. So she
Oh,
like would
wow.
make covers for boats or holders for fire department equipment, or the
What?
covers for the beds in prisons. I mean, just like heavy duty
Wow.
fabrics. But then she would also find ingenious ways to fix things in the house. She was just very handy and very creative my whole life. And she's also been the biggest support of everything. And if I wanted to do it, she was game. She was like, she would find a way, even if she didn't have the money. Because, I mean, she was poor,
Mm.
but it didn't matter. She would find a way. And my dad worked as a computer tech at IBM, and he instilled a love of computers in me early. And so I started programming when I was 11.
What?
Yeah, and I could have gone that path, but music, stole my heart, so I didn't. But I do have one of my degrees is a computer music, so I
Yeah.
I did do a lot of coding and worked at Apple, worked as a computer consultant, database designer for a while. So that was part of my life.
Oh.
But the main thing was that dad was a pianist, drummer, and singer,
Oh.
but on an amateur level, only in the sense that he had stage fright, so he didn't like to perform for people. But he
Oh.
was quite good. He had a photographic memory, and he could hear anything. I've seen him listen to a song in the car and then come in the house and just play it immediately, something he had
What?
never heard before. So
Oh.
that's the level of musician that he was, and that definitely rubbed off on me. Um, I remember turning 12 years old. Well, my mother, first I'll say, my mother told me that at 2 years old, I started playing piano, that I had a toy piano, and that was my favorite toy, and I would
Oh.
always play it. I don't remember that, but I
Uh-huh.
do remember anytime I was around a piano, I would try to learn something.
Mm.
And my father took me to see Andre Watts, the classical pianist, African American classical pianist, when I was 12 years old in Oakland at the Paramount Theater. And I saw him perform, and I knew in that instance that I wanted to be a pianist professionally.
Mm. Oh, that's
Mm.
so beautiful. So after you saw him and you just had that conviction, what was the next step? Did you tell your parents and start taking more, like, just diving into, piano classes, or just
I
what
had
happened
all
after that?
I had already started diving in because my mother lived next door to one of the first Black piano teachers in the Bay Area, Mrs.
Wow.
Laura Toom Scott. And she was in her 80s when I studied with her as a little kid. And she saw the talent and she directed me in ways that led me to the Young Musicians program at UC Berkeley when I was 13. And I got into that program and I was in that all through high school. And I remember when I was about 12, that's when I was practicing probably 3 hours a day. And then by the time I got to high school, I was practicing 6 hours a day. And then in college, I was practicing 8 hours a day. So I was already deep in. Once I saw Andre Watts, my dad already knew, okay, this kid, because they'd have to tell me to stop practicing because I just like, okay, you have to eat or it's bedtime or something. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
so after I saw Andre Watts, it was more of a validation as opposed to a catalyst because the catalyst was already there. I already knew my heart had already been stolen by the piano, and I just was insatiable with learning different songs, whether they were pop or jazz or classical or gospel. I just wanted to learn it all.
Oh, I love that. I mean, that's just so cool. And, some of the conversations I've had too with other people is just, Viola Davis had this quote where she says, you know, that's why representation is so important, is because you have to see your dream manifest. And
Yeah.
so, how cool is that you get to see, another African American, Black person, doing what you want to do, and
Yeah.
basically, I don't know, I mean, I don't want to paraphrase for you or anything, but just basically saying like, oh, this is possible. Like, I can do this,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
The fact that Mrs. Scott was an older Black woman who could play piano and she sang and she had me learning all of the things I didn't even conceive of that it wasn't possible for me because she was an example of, oh, this is possible. When I got to the Young Musicians program, again, that was at UC Berkeley, and it was a sponsored program specifically for underprivileged children, meaning poor people. But you still had to audition, so their standards
Mm-hmm.
were not lowered just because of lack of exposure and the typical racism that happens and happened then.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my teachers was Janice Maxie Reed, and she is in the Bay Area. She's a Bay Area legend. She's a pianist, singer, teacher extraordinaire. And so I saw her. I saw so many examples of Black women doing it. And so it never even crossed my mind that I couldn't. I feel, in my current awareness, of course, I know that it happens where people don't have that exposure and they don't know that this is possible,
Mm-hmm.
to pursue a career as an artist, as a teacher, as a creator. Um, but I feel so blessed and lucky that I had those examples. And so it felt like a foregone conclusion that, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. And now you're an example for so many people. I mean, and you
Yeah.
also teach and mentor young musicians as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love that. That's just,
Yeah.
full circle, paying it back and paying it forward.
Absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
love that. All right. So I want to just dive in a little bit to just about your journey to LA. And I just want to know what that was like, after you, graduate from college. What was your journey between college and making it to LA?
Oh, so many things. So I graduated from Oberlin, which was undergraduate school, and I got my 2 degrees. And it was a triple major, double degree student at Oberlin. And then I went to Stanford for graduate school in piano performance. But while I was there, since I had so much coding experience, I also worked with John Chowning, who was the developer of FM synthesis, which was um, a real groundbreaking discovery for electronic music. We'll just keep it simple,
Okay.
And he was a genius, and it was the Karma Center up there at Stanford University. So I took classes with him, and I was working as an engineer at Apple at the same time. So I was, just steeped in music and electronics and computers, and it was just my life. And then I moved to New York, and I didn't perform even once for 7.5 years.
What?
Yeah, I was in a relationship out there, and we started a company together that was database design. Well, with him, it was CD duplication service, but then I did database design and computer consulting as basically income, supplemental income until the business could take off.
Hmm.
And I did that for 7.5 years in Manhattan, lived in Harlem. And
Yeah.
after that many years of not performing, I still played at home, but, and I did write.
Hmm.
And, I was writing and producing my own demos to try and play songs. And I think I never succeeded in that because I was so sad because I wasn't
Mm.
performing. And I finally realized that. And I left New York, came back to California. And within just a few years, I started performing around the Bay Area again because people remembered me from being a child prodigy when I was a kid in
Nice.
the Young Musicians Program. And then I started just working as a teacher, as a local performer, playing for jazz bands, pop bands, church groups, classical singers, orchestral, you name it. I was just busy all the time. I had like
Hmm.
40 students. It was crazy.
Oh, what?
It was a lot. Yeah, yeah. I was
Okay.
working. And then I got a call one day because I was on MySpace back when MySpace was big.
Yes,
And I had
MySpace.
yes. And I had my profile that had me basically advertising my skills as a wedding pianist. And I
Mm.
had, some audio, some pictures, but my focus was wedding gigs because you could make better money doing that than you could working in clubs, right?
Hmm.
So one day I was very good with networking and reaching out to other people on the platform who were working musicians. One of those working musicians reached out and left me a text message saying, "Hey, call this phone number. Stevie Wonder's looking for a keyboard player." Oh, okay. So I called the phone number, left a message, and went about my day to teach. I got the text as I was coming out of yoga class because I'm a big
Oh
folk.
yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
I
Yeah,
am.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So I went back home and I was teaching a student when I got a phone call from LA, and I told my student, hold on. I answered the phone call, and it was Stevie Wonder's president of his company saying,
Oh my
"Your appointment is Friday at 4 o'clock."
God.
This was on Wednesday, right?
Oh my
So
God.
yes, I hung up and I told my student, "Lesson is canceled. Keep your money."
Yeah.
I need to practice. And so I practiced, and I didn't have a set list. I didn't have anything. All I knew was I have to learn a bunch of Stevie Wonder songs in a day, right? A day and a half. So
Wow.
I did that, flew to Los Angeles on Friday at noon. My friend Lynette Williams at the time, who's another amazing keyboard player, she tours with Lizzo right now. But
Nice.
at that time, she was with Will I Am and the Black Eyed, or I think it was just Will I Am, but it may have been Black Eyed Peas. I don't remember exactly, but I think
Okay.
it was Will I Am. Anyway, she was rehearsing at the rehearsal at the audition place, and so she came and picked me up at the airport because she was on a break, brought me back, and I was there at noon because I was there. I wanted to be super early.
Yeah.
Got there early, went in the room and was just practicing, trying to get myself ready for the audition. Went in the room and auditioned, thinking it would be a 10-minute, here you hear me play, and then I go home. No, 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 no. I was there for 4 days.
What?
Yes, 4 days.
Oh
4 days of
my
auditioning.
gosh.
And we're not talking about easy auditioning. It was not about playing the hits that you know. It was about him playing some jazz fusion song that he composed that never released. You hear him play it, and then he would point to different, or, indicate to different musicians, all right, your turn to come up and play it. And so then you'd have to play it, double time it, and solo, and maybe even change keys. So it was a very challenging audition. And altogether, there was about, I think it was 9 people altogether auditioning for the keyboard positions. There was 2 positions. And at the end of the day, it was me and Roman Johnson that got the job, and my whole life changed.
Wow. Wow. All right, I
Mhm.
just want to park there just for a second because, you know, as an actor, I know the audition process for acting, but I don't know it at all for, being a musician. What are some things that you just mentally did to prepare for that? I mean, I know you said you practiced and you flew out there, you got there early, but I mean, you had to have been a little bit nervous or something, or just like
Yeah,
with the prospect of working with Stevie Wonder. I mean, I
sure.
don't know. Like, how
Yeah.
did you prepare for that mentally?
I would say I'm lucky or blessed, however you want to look at it, in that I don't generally get stage fright. I get excited,
Yeah.
but I don't become incapacitated. Like some people are just like, they can't
Mhm.
speak or they can't play or their hands get all shaky or whatever. I don't get that. I get excited. And so for me, given everyone else that was in the room, people who had been touring with R&B acts for years, who were amazing, everyone at that audition was amazing, right?
Mhm.
And so I guess I just felt like I'm just happy and grateful to be here. And so I didn't
Yeah.
have apprehension. I was just happy. I was just like, wow, that's him. Wow, I'm gonna play. Okay, wow, that's him. And I just had fun. And I think that came across, and that allowed me to remain in a mental state where I could just perform. But
Mhm.
I've been that way since I was a kid, where I just like people would say, hey, you want to sing? Okay. Or you want to play? Okay.
Yeah.
Because it was fun. And I don't know why that I have that. It just is. And so in that space, like I said, I didn't have any expectation. I didn't expect that I would
Yeah.
remain past 10 minutes, remain past the first day, remain past the second day, all the way to the fourth day when they told me I got it. I just was like flabbergasted, like, wow, really? Okay.
Wow.
And yeah. So
Ah,
there's just a joy in it for me that supersedes everything else.
yeah. And it's so important, like as you're creating. I mean, you just radiate that. And of course, like, Stevie would pick up on that and Beyonce and,
Yeah.
everyone. So that, I mean, that's so dope. So, they tell you get the job and then, I mean, I'm just curious because I don't know the whole, I mean, I know, like I said, from an actor standpoint, but I mean, are you automatically like flying out and going to a location to start rehearsing songs or, I
It
mean,
was
what?
fast. So
Okay.
I got the job on a Monday and I had to fly home to pack because the first tour date was that Friday.
Ooh.
Yes, and so I had to learn as many songs as possible because the thing with Stevie is, his catalog is over
It's,
500 songs that people just know, right? And then
yeah.
you add on the ones that maybe aren't they're the deep cuts, and you just, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs.
Mm-hmm.
And the fun part, I won't say scary part. At first it was scary, but then it became fun. The fun part is you never know which one he's gonna choose.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You would get a set list and we'd all just laugh, ha ha ha, and just like throw it away because his whole approach is to go with the spirit of the crowd. And so
Mm.
if he wants to play a one particular song, he'll start one place and then he'll go somewhere else, and you just have to be ready.
Yeah.
So that was very, very useful for me to learn to appreciate, because coming from the classical world, we know what we're going to play. It's written on the page, it's in a certain order, and it's absolute, right? You know what it is. There's no variance. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn to appreciate that spontaneity, and now I absolutely love it. I just love it. I'm just like, what are we playing next? Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And so you go on tour with Stevie Wonder, and because we were trying to get to this little LA,
Right, right.
story.
So I
So,
did. Mm-hmm.
yeah, go ahead,
Toured
go
with
ahead.
Stevie for 7.5 years. And then I got a phone call one day to come to LA and audition for a TV show. They wouldn't tell me what it was. They just said it's a TV show. And so I flew down, auditioned for that. I played, I sang. And then right after, like an hour after I did it, because they had several people there, but about an hour later, they called me back in. They're like, you got the job. And that was to play keyboards and sing on the new Arsenio Hall show. So that's what brought
Ooh,
me to Los Angeles in 2013. That's when that
wow.
happened.
Yeah.
And that was magic. I mean, Arsenio is such a sweetheart. He's so funny. He's so kind. And he was just so generous with how he profiled the band. He said
Mm.
our names. He took the time to spotlight each of us. He took the time to invite us to participate in the various skits that he would do. It was just
Yeah.
so much fun. And I loved everything about it. But when I got that job, I had to move to Los Angeles. So that's what brought me to Los Angeles, the Arsenio Hall show in 2013.
I mean, what an amazing way to come out to LA.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. I'm just like, I got chills and everything. I mean, how cool is that? I thought you were going to say the other TV show, but now you're reminding me about the Arsenio Hall show. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Because you did Noches con Platanitos, right?
Sí, Noches
Yeah.
con Platanito. Yes, that was in
Yeah.
2017
Yeah.
when I got the call to play for that show. And that was similar in terms of it's a talk show and I'm playing, but
Mm.
different in that it's, solamente en español.
Mm-hmm.
And so, learning to respond to a host that's speaking in Spanish, and like all of the performing artists who came on were Spanish based artists. And so that was really, I love challenge. And so it was really exciting to learn that music and to play with the band that was incredible as well. I mean, both bands, the Arsenio Hall show and the Noches con Platanito show, the bands were great, and it's just a joy to play with great musicians.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. So cool. So you're out here in LA and you're doing your thing. I mean, you're working with just, I mean, talented, incredible artists.
Yeah.
And how how have you learned just during all that to just rock with the ebbs and flows of the business? Because I'm you, from your story so far, I mean, you've been super blessed, and I know that you've put in the work, and
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
like that's where the opportunities come.
Yeah.
But was there ever a period of time, between from Stevie to Arsenio to um, Noches con Plantanito, that things were a little quiet, that you got a little like
Yeah.
you had some
Oh, yeah.
challenges trying to navigate it?
Absolutely. Back in 2014, Arsenio was unexpectedly canceled. We had been
Yeah.
renewed. Jay Leno came on the show and told us that we had been renewed. And so we were all excited. This was in May 2014, and I was getting ready to go on vacation with my mom. I had flown her down here. We
Oh.
were going to go up the California coast. Would you believe I still haven't done that? I still haven't been to the Hearst Castle or Big Sur. I know. I'm
I
in
haven't. I
California.
haven't either. So we
Okay,
might
so
just need to do
you
that.
understand me
Yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah.
I was
So,
excited. I was so excited to go and do that. And I got back home from a hike with my mom and my friend, and I had all these email messages saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Sorry, why?" And they had canceled the show.
mm,
So, that's what happens. And so at that point, I, and I don't like complaining about it, but I'll just state this much. The music industry can be a real feast or famine situation for support artists, musicians, actors who perform in the service of other people's vision, right?
mhm,
And so I was at a low point
mhm.
financially, even though the show was on, but it was, it's a steady build because I had come from woo. And so I was back to almost to woo, but not quite at
Yeah,
yeah, right?
yeah, yeah.
And so I lost my job. And so I was in Los Angeles and working on a TV show. I didn't get out much. I worked at that show. I come home and go to sleep because it was a long, when you're
Yeah,
shooting shows, it's long days.
yeah.
And I just didn't, I felt very isolated and lonely. And I was probably my worst depression of my life in
Mm,
2014 when I lost my job and I had no prospects. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I just put one foot in front of the other. One of my ways of coming out of that was transcendental meditation and yoga, and having that center and focus on being grateful for whatever shows up helped lift me out of it. And by February of 2016, because that with that whole time without having a steady job, I was working here and there, little jobs, bars, weddings, it's whatever I could do, students, just to get by.
mm.
But then in 2016, in February, I got an email about, hey, major artist is looking for a keyboard player, and asked me to submit a bunch of videos performing all manner of things from scales to jazz tunes to something classical. I found out later the big artist was Beyonce.
Yes. Oh
And
my
after submitting
gosh.
a few videos and then going and auditioning in person, the day I went in an audition, they gave me a contract.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so my
Yes.
journey with
Yes.
Queen Bee started in 2016. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, hey there. If you're enjoying this conversation like I know you are, then I have some additional offerings for you. Head on over to the In Tribe and sign up on our mailing list. There, you not only get first dibs on meetups, workshops, and special events tailored to our community, but you'll also get a special discount code on the Creative You course. Now, this course is all about helping you to level up and elevate your creative career. Because listen, I've been in this business now for nearly 2 decades, and I've experienced all the highs and lows, and I've developed so many tools to navigate those, and now I'm sharing them with you. So go to theintrive.com/cultivate and check out the Creative You course. And last but not least, just for tuning in and signing up, I'm giving you a freebie. It's our In Trive Hive Level Up Guide. It's a special daily guide for practicing ways to be your optimum creative self. Because listen, an all-around healthy artist is a thriving artist, and that's what we're all about here. So check out our site, sign up for our newsletter, get a special discount code for the Creative You course, and take off with your new In Tribe Hive Level Up Guide. It's new beginnings here, and so let's get inspired and thrive only at the In Tribe. See you soon. Now, back to the episode.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you said so much so far that is just so many just nuggets for any creative person. And like, I relate to it so much too as an actor. I mean, to go almost 2 years without, a steady job. I mean, that is terrifying,
Yep.
like, and I have been on that journey and I know, and you're just like, what the heck? But I mean, you took those steps to just switch it around, turn it on its head, learn TM, learn yoga. I mean, did somebody come to you and say, hey, Victoria, like, I see, you're having some challenges, like maybe you should try yoga, or did you just, what was the
No.
thing inside of you that you were like, let me just try this out? Like, what was it?
Well, I have been practicing yoga for a long time, back
Okay.
to when I lived in New York. And I've done so much yoga I could teach it.
Nice.
But I don't have the interest or the time for actually a teaching training, so that's okay. I just do
Yeah.
my own thing. Transcendental meditation, though, I happened across an ad online, and this place was right down the street, so I thought, let me just go check it out. And it was easy, and it was, not that expensive, and so I tried it out, and it really did help me. It helped me to reconnect to things that I already knew, because I've done a lot of self um, enhancement work,
Hmm.
and what's the terminology for it? Self improvement, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's, yeah, self-improvement.
Self-examination,
Yeah.
where I really take the time to look at what are my motivations, what are my habits, what are my inclinations that are not serving me, so that I can address them and shift them, and try to become my best self in all times.
Hmm.
And so TM helped me to reconnect with that, because it's ebb and flow again. Like, sometimes we're on it and other times it's like, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And we forget how powerful we are, how powerful what we say, how powerful our minds are, and where we're putting our focus. And so that reconnected me with that, and I've never turned back. I've been on it ever since.
Mm. Wow. And what is so my one of my questions was, how do you find balance now? Do you have like a daily practice? And
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm assuming you do
Oh yeah.
because of TM and yoga, but
Yeah.
would you care to share just a little more in
Sure.
depth of what that
I,
daily practice is?
I still do meditation at least once a day in the morning when I get
Okay.
up. I like to do my meditation, and it can be TM, but it can also be a variety of different kinds of meditations. Someone could use a prayer, someone could just use looking at a candle. I mean, find what works for you, right? So what works for me is I really enjoy transcendental meditation because it's just silence. And I like that. Other people, it's too much. They need a music cue, or they need a voice, or, and whatever. There's no judging. It's just what works for you, right? I know for me, I can't do music because I pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So I need just silence.
Yeah.
And I do my workout every morning. I do stretching. I do some weight work using free weights. And I like to dance, and so I try to
Ooh.
get my 10 minutes of dance at least every day. And I eat healthy. I try, my partner Dave and I try to get in a walk at least a few times a week, if not every day. Yeah, and I really pay attention to what I say and how I say it. When I'm starting to hear myself complaining, when I go too dark with my verbiage, I'm like, wait, hold off. Remember how grateful you are. Remember how blessed you are to have this moment, to be talking to Ciera, to be looking out this window and seeing this beautiful blue sky. Just, there's so much to be grateful for. And it feels better for me. And so I monitor myself a lot to make sure that I keep myself in that space because it just feels better to me. I'd rather be
Mhm.
uplifted and joyful than dour and cynical. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, gosh, so many people do though, and it's just,
Yeah.
it's challenging. It can be challenging sometimes to really, stay in the flow with that, like you're saying, and I
Yeah.
relate, I,
Yeah.
I try to do my best, but I have my moments too. And I'm
And
like,
that's it.
ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really just trying to stay out of judgment of it. If somebody is
Mm,
in a dour state where they're cynical and they're depressed, and if that's where they're supposed to be, just offer them grace. It's
yeah.
okay. Be there. Just be aware that you can make a different choice. And just
Mhm.
having that awareness is sometimes enough to start shifting you, you know? And because I also don't want to get into bashing myself or, oh, I was too
Yeah.
depressed. No, stop. No, it just is. I'll share that I lost my father in October this past
Yeah.
year.
So sorry.
And I'm a stoic, like I said earlier, by nature, and
Mhm.
so I can very much compartmentalize and do that. But sometimes I'm just going to be sad, and I want to just allow that. And if I'm sad, it's okay. There's a good reason I'm sad, right? My dad's
Mhm.
gone. But then I can remember the good things, and that'll
Yeah.
bring me back. And so all in all, everything's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, grace is so important. I mean, we just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I just feel like it's something that's so not taught to, the majority of people because there's so much messaging every single day as to why we, aren't valuable or, why we're flawed, And so, like you said, to just give yourself grace, especially when, you're going through loss or you're going through any type of sadness or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
looking at it and letting it be. And
Yeah.
again, like non-judgment, like you said. So,
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I know people are going to take that with them from this conversation. So thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So there's two questions here before we, begin to wrap it up. And I almost want you to just choose which one you want to answer. So I feel like we have to do it in service though of, the beehive and everything. Um, but if you don't want to, it's all good because we don't have to. But two of the questions I have, one is, the whole what is it like working with Beyonce? What was that experience like? And then also the other question is non-Beyonce related, or it could be. Um, what do you think the responsibility of an artist is? Like, what is the artist's responsibility? So you can either choose or you can just answer them both, whichever.
I can answer them both.
All
Sure.
right, cool.
Working for her is a lot of fun. One, I love her. I personally love her music. It's fun to dance to, and I admire people who work hard at whatever it is they choose to do that brings them joy,
Mm,
and watching them put their full being into it. And that's what she does. I love observing that and learning from it. Right. So there's no excuses. She just goes in there and she does what she has to do. Obviously, she's wealthy. She doesn't have to do anything, right? But she does it because she loves it. And
yeah.
that to me is the thing to look at. And I think that feeds into the next thing. What is an artist's responsibility? One, being responsible to their art and putting everything they have into it. A lot of times, I won't name any artists, but there's, certain artists that I listen to, and the writing, from my standpoint, is just lazy. It's like
Hmm.
they're not talking about anything.
Yeah.
Give me a story. Give me a point of view. Something. Show me that you worked at this, that you really were thoughtful with every single word. And I look forward to the day when art, because it always is an ebb and flow, right?
Hmm.
Like life. Um, I look forward to the day when artists are more, have some agency with choosing to
Yeah.
elevate their art at the highest level, whatever that means for them, and aren't taking the low road, aren't taking the path of least resistance. Just, it's boring. I
Hmm.
get bored with that. So
Hmm.
I love artists that really put their heart and soul into what they do to try and make it impactful, to make it something that can change someone's state of being. That's the magic that we have with art, whether it's music or acting or dancing or painting, whatever it is. We have the capability of shifting someone's state of being, of opening minds, of changing hearts. Wow, what a tremendous honor to be able to dive in to the human experience to that degree. So I love people who do that. And to me, a true artist, that is their number one calling, to dive in to that degree. Now, there are also artists who have the inclination for and the platform for contributing towards social change. Not every artist has that, right? They might try, maybe they're clunky with it for whatever reason. Their dictum is more joy, for example. Their songs are joyful, or their songs are to help people get past heartbreak. But then there's also those who are advocating for social change. And so I don't think that there's any reason to say every artist has to do that, right? Because every artist is going to be different. And changing someone's state of being, lifting them from sadness into joy, can be a catalyst for social change too. Right. So there's value in that. I think that just the authenticity to themselves and to their art is their number one responsibility.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm like, I'm going to take notes after this because that's so good. That's so good. But it's so spot on. And I so agree with you on that. 100%. 100%. So I want to just shed the lens just 100% back on you, in terms of your artistic process. I know that you're creating music constantly. You have an album, you're making more. What is your process like right now as you're creating music, as you're, getting at the piano and just going at, like, what is your first thing that you do or intention as you're creating your music?
I allow it to come to me. So I try to put in time practicing every day, where I'm just going through technical exercises to make sure the digits stay in top form. And also just playing some of my favorite jazz and classical songs just connects me to the harmonies and to the beauty that I love in music. And then when it's time to actually create, I do write poetry pretty much every day. I've been doing that for a long time. I've been writing poems since I was a long time ago. And I find a lot of pleasure in finding the right words and just putting it together. And especially finding the right chords. Like I'm really influenced by soundscapes and how chords can, and the way that you voice chords. Voicing means which notes you play in the chord, so that it either has a tight sound or an open sound or a blend in between them. And I really enjoy doing that. And a lot of the work I've been doing lately is collaboration. So I've got the collaboration with my partner, Dave, and we have our band In Spirits, and we're going to be releasing, we have one song online right now, but we're going to be releasing another song probably in the next month or two. And then the full album by the summer. EP, it's like an EP. So it's like 6 songs, 6 or 7. And we primarily work he's an amazing multi-instrumentalist, composer, producer, artist, and he loves making tracks. So tracks are just, the music without the words, and just the music as you hear it, like imagine if the singer was muted, right? So that's the music, that's a track. Okay. And he makes he makes them a lot. He makes a lot of them, right? And they're amazing. And so every now and then he'll pop one over to me and I'm like, oh, I like this. And so then I'll start writing some words, and maybe he'll have a melodic idea. I'll have a melodic idea, or we'll blend them together, or just come up with songs in a collaborative sense. And in my own opinion, they're quite good. Yeah. And we have a great time doing that. And we love to go down to our studio and just jam and just experiment with sounds and just see what comes of it. And some of the songs have come that way, where we just are in the flow and allow the flow to create the art. I'm also working on a musical called Marian, about Marian Anderson, the first Black woman to sing at the Metropolitan Opera in New York, and who's most famous for singing at the Lincoln Memorial in 1939 in front of a crowd of 75,000 people of all races. considered to be one of the first actions of the civil rights era, and probably the first non-segregated audience in America, if not the first, one of the first, for sure. And I've been on this journey since 2019, so this is moving into my, I guess, just past my third year working on the project, and we've had multiple readings and just trying to find the right financing so that we can do the next step of it, which is always a challenge. But we'll get there because I believe in the story, and people who've heard it have given us tremendous feedback, particularly how wonderful the music is.
Yes,
yes. And so my co-composer on Marianne is Chelsea Marie Davis, a brilliant songwriter and singer and pianist who is like a spirit sister to me. We get together and we just write, and it just flows. It's incredible. And so that's one. And then Dave and I just joined a project called Co-Founders, and we're going to be contributing music to that as well. And so we're working with that team and working together, and collaboration and creativity is so fun. I'm having the time of my life.
I love that. I love it. And before we let you go, I'm going to have you share where people can find all of that information, how they can buy your music, and also just support you in any way. But thank you for sharing all of that, because yeah, I'm rooting for you. I know that Broadway bound
Yes.
it's gonna happen. So it's happening. It's happening.
It's happening.
Yes. So yeah. All right. Cool. So before I let you go, I have to do the rapid 5 questions. And
Okay.
so, I'm going to ask you just some, rapid fire questions and try to answer them. Anytime I tell people to keep it to a sentence or two or one word, it never happens. So just answer it however you feel,
But the goal is one word or a sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. I will
With
try.
no pressure, because it does end up opening, so much more, and it's cool. I love it. I love the conversation. So, All right. So, let's just dive in. So, first question is, who inspires you the most?
My mother.
Nice. So, if you weren't in music and even in coding or anything like that, because I don't want you to say that that's what else you would be doing. But if you weren't a musician, what else would you be doing?
I would have been a dancer.
Ooh, okay. All right. I see that. I've seen you get down too. So yeah.
Right?
You kind of answered this a little bit, but let's just elaborate a little bit. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Meditate.
Meditate. Do you meditate in your bed, or do you like go to a designated area?
Yeah, I go to my yoga mat on the floor. I think it's better for me just to lay on the floor and just allow my body to relax into the floor. And it's like meditation and stretching at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay, cool. So, dream project or dream person that you like to work with? Who, what?
Okay. Dream. I mean, I've worked with some dream people, so it's kind of hard. I mean, Stevie Wonder, Beyonce, Lin-Manuel Miranda. I mean, it's kind of Ciera Payton.
What? Oh, okay. Well, all right. I'm gonna write that down on the board. Let's do it. Hey, look, I've dabbled in so many different things, so I'm sure we could do something together. I would love to collaborate with you. You're amazing. So, yeah, let's put it down. For
Yeah,
sure.
let's go.
All right. Okay, in your own words, I want artists to practice a little more blank.
A little more grace.
Yeah. All right, awesome. We talked about that. Grace is just
Yep.
so
It's
important.
important. Such
So
a sign of maturity,
important.
you know. If you can offer grace. Like you just watched the Grammy Awards that just happened, and the number of people who were whining about I didn't win. It's like, you know what? Grace. You're there at all. Your name was mentioned at all. Grace.
Yeah.
Just there's so many talented people in the world who never get an opportunity.
Yes.
And it's like they're like every one of those people that's on the Grammys, they're humans who had grace. to get to where they are. They work hard, of course. That's baseline. Working hard is baseline.
Yeah.
Anything above that is grace. And it's like, if you don't know that, I have empathy for you, and I hope that you find it.
Yeah. Oof. Ooh. Yes. All right. So is there anything else that you'd like to share that we didn't touch on at all?
My book. I have a book.
Okay.
And
Let's hear it.
Yeah,
Yes,
so there's a
let's hear
company called Pianote. It's based in Canada, but it's one of the largest online teaching platforms. The company is Missoura, but they have divisions for drums. This is called Drumeo. For piano, it's called Pianote. For singing, it's Singio, etc. And so I'm one of their coaches on their online teaching platform. So if you want piano lessons, you can go to pianote.com and sign up for my classical piano class. And there's a book, the companion book that I wrote with the company. And it's my first book, like, yay! So it's available either directly through them or from me. If you want a signed copy, you can get it from me directly. Just go to my website. And that I was introduced to Pianote by Dexy Bell, the company that endorses me, and their incredible, beautiful pianos from Italy. Other than that, I think that's everything. I think I got it all.
All right, we're going to leave all of the websites and links down below, and I should have them pop up on the screen too as you're saying these. So yes, we're going to get that out there for sure. All right, so my last two questions here, well, three-ish.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know, but the In Tribe stands for the Inspired Thriving Tribe. And so I'm just curious, just in your own words, what does thriving look like to you? Number one, and how do you stay inspired or inspire other people?
Thriving looks like finding joy in every single day, finding great gratitude in every single day, and just trusting that everything is perfect and that it will work out for me. And no matter what, it's going to work out for me, because things always work out for me. And I love that, no matter what. I keep that attitude of gratitude, as the saying goes, right? And what keeps me inspired every day? My love of music, my love of humanity, and my hope that people with good hearts will ultimately make this world a better place.
Ooh. Wise words. Beautiful words. I love that. Well, you're already making this world a beautiful place, a better place, an amazing place.
As are you.
Oh, look, I'm just going where I'm told to go,
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
by the man above,
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, very, very last question. Serious, for real. Last one. Where can people find you? Where can they keep up with you? Are you on social media? What's your website? Just go ahead and let us know so I can drop it all out there for everyone.
Sure. My website is victoriatheodore.com. My Instagram is Victoria Theodore Music. My Twitter is Victoria Theo. My TikTok is Victoria Theodore Music, I think. I was on Facebook, but for whatever reason, Facebook kicked me out. All I can figure is somebody hacked my page, and for whatever reason, they don't have customer service, so you cannot get help if something happens to your page. So I'm not on Facebook at the moment. But if any of your listeners have any suggestions for how I could get it back, that'd be great.
Yeah, drop that down below, please.
Yes, please.
She needs to get her Facebook page back.
Yeah, I had it for 12 years.
Oh, God.
And literally, you saw it on my page. It's literally puppies and music and rainbows.
Yeah.
Literally nothing ever offensive. So I don't know what happened.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. Well, we'll get that handled, but you are on Instagram and Twitter. We got your website.
And TikTok.
And TikTok. Yes. So please, everybody, just be sure that you log on, hit her up on social media, check out her book, her courses, just everything. Her music. Better go out there and buy her single as well. In Spirits.
InSpiritsmusic.com is our website.
All right. Awesome. Well, Victoria, thank you again so much for stepping into the In Tribe. I so appreciate you, and I love you so much. And I can't wait for everyone to see this video. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, love.
Yay. Bye. Wow, wasn't that incredible? I mean, Victoria is such an amazing human being, but an even more amazing artist. And so I hope that you were able to just take a few little nuggets from that conversation. I know I did. And so if you want to keep up with Victoria, please go ahead and just hit all the links down below. I left everything where you can find about her courses, In Spirits, her social media, her website, everything. It's right down below. So go ahead. Click those links and keep up with Victoria. And if you have any questions or comments, you already know what to do. Go ahead, drop them down below in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer them as soon as I can. And if you want to just keep up with this channel or, find more videos here, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. You'll be doing yourself a favor, and yes, you'll be doing me a favor as well, and everybody that you see here on this channel. And lastly, I know, I got a lot going on, but just rock with me here. Lastly, if you want more content from the In Tribe, go ahead and head over to the website, theintribe.com, and look, you'll find more articles there, more interviews, but most importantly, you'll find the membership where we have a whole community of creatives, and you'll also find some cool courses and events there as well. So go ahead and head over to theintribe.com to get more content and to join the community. All right. Well, look, I so appreciate you for being here today. I love you dearly. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you at the next video. But until then, stay inspired and keep thriving. All right. I love you. Take care. Bye.